Now engineering. Mr. Gautham Ram, JMD, Craftsman's Automation Limited. Mr. Gautham Ram is a whole-time director of the company. He holds a bachelor's degree in mechanical engineering from PSC College of Technology, Coimbatore, and master's degree in mechanical engineering from RWTH, Aachen University, Germany. He has experience in automotive industry. He is engaged in building the product strategy in the industrial and engineering segment of the company. He is also the vice president of the Coimbatore Industrial Infrastructure Associations. Prior joining the company, he was associated with Caterpillar India Private Limited. Now, I would like to invite Mr. Gautham Ram to deliver his speech and share his insights with us.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and esteemed dignitaries on the dais, including my dad's close friend, Mr. Shantakumar sir. And thank you for inviting and allowing me to present. And I feel humbled by the seniority and the experience and the dignitaries on the dais. It is with great privilege that I stand before you and try to share some insights on the transformative GST reforms that have reshaped India's tax landscape. At the outset, I would sincerely thank the Indian Taxpayer Forum as well as the Federation of Indian Chambers of Commerce, that is FICCI, for providing this valuable platform to engage with you and address such a distinguished gathering. So, GST has made life simpler for many people, many businesses, and the digitization is really to be appreciated. And especially the GST 2.0 reforms, which have been effective from September 20 to 2025, has ushered in a simplified tax regime and also reduced tax across many sectors, and including automotive sector, where it was 28%, now it is 18%. In between Independence Day and September 22nd, the sales of automotive felt almost zero because everybody was waiting for the new rates to kick in. So there's a little bit of disruption, but end of the day, I think after 22nd of September, everybody has had record sales, and which has really helped the industry grow. This was long-standing demand that 18% should be the tax rate instead of 28. The common man has also got the benefit of the tax reduction. Now, still there is some confusion, I would say. Agricultural machinery is classified at 5%, but engine parts are at 18%. So there is some inverted duty structure still going on, especially also in textiles. I think my friends among the textile industry will also agree that input tax credit sometimes is more than the output tax credit, especially in textiles are having this problem. But overall, I think that's a positive net change, and it's also enhanced the cash flow across the entire economy, more cash flow and lesser burden of paying the tax and then taking the input tax credit. So I think there's a lot of employment and investment generation across the country post GST 2.0. Like I think a smaller share of a bigger pie is what our finance minister is also, esteemed finance minister is also talking about, so that we are talking about faster growth in the economy overall. But definitely there are some challenges. Despite these advances, certain businesses, especially small and medium scale businesses, they continue to grapple with compliance intricacies and including invoice. There is overheads which have been added to compliance, which the small scale industries and small businesses are struggling to manage. And not everyone is tax literate, as Shantakumar sir clearly said. Many of us are tax illiterates. So they're afraid of making mistakes also. And when mistakes happen and notice comes, then it is a little bit unnerving. So even we, Craftsman, as a company here, we have been, we have received the highest taxpayer award from the GST in this circle, I believe. I think last year also we got the award. So one side we are happy to say that we are a biggest taxpayer. Other side, next day itself we get some notice, and the notice is for some not so big tax dispute, but then it is addressed to my home address, and it comes and then everyone gets disturbed. Though it is not a big one, it will get resolved in due course of time. I think we should be given a little bit benefit of the doubt as a taxpayer, of course. And we also had an experience recently. This is before the GST implementation also, but it is continuing even after the GST implementation. There was a railway part which we had developed indigenization, which the DLW Varanasi factory could not indigenize for many decades. This was imported at a large cost from international company, and RDSO, that is the Research Development Standard Organization, they reached out to us saying that why don't you develop this part? And our friends, my colleagues here will attest to the fact that we, as a company, we took it as a patriotic mission and reduced the cost by 2/3, not by 1/3, but 2/3 we brought the cost down for that particular part, which was part of the engine of a locomotive which was imported at a high cost for decades. And when we indigenized it, RDSO gave us an award and we were felicitated on the stage. Import dependence, that means a US supplier, if it stops supply, all the locomotives across the country within months, it will grind to a halt. There is no alternative here. So as a dependence on an external party for the key backbone infrastructure of the country, we were very happy to develop this product. But later on, I think sometime we regretted it because we got the design from RDSO, we delivered it to DLW at a 5% rate, which was prescribed as a railway part. For railway parts, it was a railway part. But then we got a notice later, much later, that no, it's the engine part. No, this part cannot be used in any other engine except the locomotive. So the tax classification, it took 5 years to resolve. Mr. J. Kumar, unfortunately, is not here. He was our advocate and it took long time to resolve it. And I mean, we felt one side, yes, we did some service to the country, and there's no tax impact on the government because the government is the customer here. Even if we had charged 18% as per the railway parts, the government would have paid us 18%. So net, there was no revenue impact. But then, of course, we have to go through the motions and we have to go through the entire appeal process, which took many years to resolve. I think our team had spent innumerable number of hours in trying to understand, and finally, yes, the case was resolved in our favor. I'm just saying that in case of revenue neutral cases, I don't know if this is the right forum to represent. We are still requesting that benefit of the doubt could be given, especially in revenue neutral cases. So definitely we want to do the best for the country, and we have to be, as employment generators, we have to play a very critical role in the economic progress. And when some summons are given to key managerial personnel, especially on short notice, sometimes especially in the case where the tax impact is negligible, it causes significant disruption to daily business activities. And a cooperative approach to the enforcement and dispute resolution should reduce the burden on the taxpayer and the amount of efforts. Businesses and tax authorities working in tandem can definitely better serve the goal of a fair and efficient tax system. Another area of concern for the industry is the delays and complexity involving resolving the GST disputes. Of course, the GST Appellate Tribunal, I think it is being recently formed. So finally, it is formed after 8 years of GST. Now it is being formed. So the cases are taking a long time to resolve, and every time we go for an appeal, we need to pay the pre-deposit penalty of 10% plus 10%, and that locks up the cash in the working capital also in the thing. Finally, we might get a favorable decision, of course, but then the working capital gets locked up in these pre-deposit requirements. In conclusion, I would say India's next generation GST reforms represent a milestone towards a simpler and more transparent and growth-oriented tax network. But with continued collaboration between government bodies, industry representatives, and forums like the Indian Taxpayer Forum and FICCI, we can overcome the remaining challenges and realize the full benefits of GST. Finally, advancing India's economic growth and fostering a conducive business climate. Thank you once again for this esteemed opportunity to share my views. I look forward to fruitful discussions, and thank you. Thank you, sir.